Hello, people. Are we good? Can you hear me? And is everything awesome? I have to keep asking because I never trust myself. It worked yesterday, but I'm very suspicious of that. So, but if it does work, welcome. So I said yesterday. It wasn't yesterday. Sunday. And on Sunday we started modeling Neutron. Don't it says Slotcoin here, don't worry about that. It's my friends and I have a group called Slot. Don't worry about it. Neutron. It was for a 3D print thing. So, anyways, it's CC time, guys. What? I'm confused. Closed captions. Anyways, here's what we did last time. This is the Neutron Rocket. And yeah, we did some details, we did some engines. Most of the time, actually, I checked the stream back, and most of our time was spent modeling the engines. And I can understand that a little bit. They do take some time, and they weren't perfect. I mean, it's like clipping through the gimbal arm here, which I don't like, but you can't see it, so it's not a problem. Don't worry about it. Carbon composite, yeah. It's fun because I was thinking carbon composite before the stream and CC and whatever. But then I started streaming and I forgot about it. And welcome, Flo. And Kalen, and Tom, and Andy. How are you guys doing this fine Tuesday? So, yeah, I noticed some things we forgot about last time. So I totally forgot about the fairing. Which is a crucial part of this thing. Like, I mean, look at this. What is this? Yeah, so I think we should start with that, actually. And also the second stage, we didn't even do the second stage. So basically we modeled some of the first stage. We modeled the first stage and called that a day. And the engines. Will we see a shiny neutron just like shiny electron? I mean, maybe. I feel like in some of the renders it looks a little bit shiny. Maybe that's just me. Maybe the renders were done before they saw the new electron color scheme thing. Yeah. Hello, Fromrick. Need to go for the James Bond, you only live twice, Spectral Rocket. Yeah, exactly. They were totally inspired by that. Okay, so I'm just gonna get started and we can talk about how awesome you guys are. Or something, I don't know. Good, thanks, how about you? Yeah, charmtastic. I mean, will you do a shiny neutron? Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think I will. I think it makes sense, since it's carbon composite as well. And yeah, I don't know. It makes sense in my head. So let's do it. Yeah. Cool. So I'm just gonna grab 1/4 of these and just delete everything else. And I'll just make sure it's like rotated like that. That's so I can animate it. Because Blender's very particular about the rotations of stuff. So now I can rotate it on its local x-axis. So instead of rotating on it the global x-axis, I can rotate it on its rotated 45-degree local axis. And that means I can do that. Fancy stuff. Curvy boomstick, indeed. Curvy, leggy boomstick. Stanley works, Casper works. I mean, Casper is my name. Stanley is like my middle name. But that works too. I did choose it as my name, I suppose. Can't wait to see this in Rocket Explorer. Hell yeah. I'm excited to see it too, actually. It is pretty big. So, yeah. Jump mechanisms. So now we can do something like this already. It won't look great. But I can do like, whoa. Yeah. It's obviously not, and these are, doesn't look great, and these are like invisible on the inside because there is no inside, I guess. So I'm just gonna make that like so, basically. Then the great thing about it, yeah, making it off the outside, so these sides just fit up in numbers of vertices all the way around. And there we go. And then, yeah, the inside will obviously be, it'll have some like padding, or usually all fairings have some sort of acoustic paneling or something. Hello Astro Benny, welcome to this stream as well. So like you see streamers and YouTubers have acoustic paneling on their walls. Fairings have that sort of thing too. Probably a little bit more sophisticated, but just maybe. Yeah, cool. Just making some seams, these red parts. I explained it last stream, but this is what we're gonna do for the majority of this stream, is doing texturing. So you'll see a lot of these red lines, and that's where we split up the model. So that's when we go into UV editing. You can see this is a little bit messed up right now. But now because I made those red lines in the correct spots, when I hit unwrap, it'll sort of unwrap the 3D model into a 2D plane in a little bit neat of a way. Yeah. So that's how you put the texture on. So I have this 3D model, I've unwrapped it to a 2D plane. I'll slap the texture on there, and then wrap it back up into a 3D object. I mean, that's what it does behind the scenes. I don't do it manually. But that's why I do those red lines. That's where it cuts the model, so to say. And now because I made that, when I unhide the others, they should have an inside too. Yeah. Cool. And I can also, I mean, I don't know about the paneling, but let's just do some quick paneling. I actually haven't done this on a lot of my rockets, which I really should do, because it's, I mean, a part of the rocket. It's just because it's on the inside. Usually I've sort of been a little bit lazy. Don't tell anyone. I need to learn more shortcuts. Yeah. I really love learning shortcuts. I also learn a lot of Windows shortcuts and such. So it's fun to me to be speedy. Right. What am I doing? Look at Discord. You don't tell me what to do. Ah, photos. Nice. Alright, you wrote that in chat too, right? Editing photos, yeah. Good times. Were you hired to make them, or did you just do it for fun? Looks like a hired job. Are you listening to your own stream? I can hear quite a copy of the audio delayed by about 10 seconds. Ah, I must have a stream up somewhere. That's weird. I don't know. That sucks though, I don't want an echo. Weird. Is it gone now? Okay. I think that might have been Discord bugging out or something. I had it open in Discord before the stream, but then I went out of that channel, and then that should automatically close the YouTube player, but apparently it didn't, maybe? Weird. Cool. It looks very chunky. I don't like that. So chunky, almost as chunky as the rocket. It is just acoustic paneling. It should be kind of lightweight. And just a little bit thin, maybe. Maybe I don't make this sharp and I do. Yeah, I like that better. It's not perfect, but... And this is also like... Huh. Weird. YouTube never plays fair when Casper's around. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I always have to ask, is everything good? So. As long as you're good and I'm good, then we good. Ah, yes, it already curves. So I'll do something like looks like a 6-pack or something. So we have 12 people here. That's amazing. How are you guys doing? Did you watch? How many of you watched the last stream? Because now we're doing something that sort of, if you need a quick explanation, I can totally deliver that. Mm-hmm. And okay, so I'm also wondering about how the fairing is connected at the top. Okay. Hate this. You know what? I'm actually inclined to just not do this right now. I can keep these. I'll just move them to like another layer. Booleans. Yeah. But I'm wondering how the top is going to be. If it's going to be like this hard joint of 4 points meeting each other, or if it's going to be like the electron fairing, which is like one fairing half overlaps over the other and creates the nose cone. I feel like it's going to be something like that, but I'm just going to stick with this for now. It also looks much cooler. When CasperCon? I mean, I can go to a convention, but it's not gonna be mine. Okay. So you can see how thin the fairings are here. They probably will be thin, and then the acoustic paneling in itself will sort of create that thickness. So I'll just do that. Yeah, cool. Okay, and then the first stage itself does have some. Well, okay, what happens here? First stage. Let's just go inwards here. Bam. Goes down. So there's definitely an interstage, but then it goes way down because the entire second stage sits inside that interstage thing, as you can see here. The top of the yeah, so where the payload attaches, the payload ring sits flush with the fairing start here, right here. So the entirety of the second stage goes way down to, yeah, about here. Where I've marked this line as well. So that's the entirety of the interstage right here. So only this part down here has all the tanks and stuff, which just seems ridiculous. That's such a huge part of the rocket, but it just makes sense in making it's much easier for reusability in terms of, I mean, instead of trying to make it fully reusable. And it's still such a huge part of the rocket then, because then the second stage is so light and small. Yeah, very cool. Definitely getting an alien vibe from the fairing top. Yeah, like when it opens its mouth. I can see it. Yeah. Cool. So only doing this because I forgot last time, but now let's model a quick second stage here. Let's just use this as inspiration. Inspiration, I say. It's going to be this. I'm going to copy this. Just for the quick shape here, I'm actually going to bring it up to the rocket for the correct scale. Cool. Yeah, so as you can see, that's just a little too big. So how wide is it compared to this? Okay. About like this. Yeah. That's the second stage. Very roughly. It'll come out here. Engine time. I wonder what. So is that an Archimedes engine 2? Totally, Tom. I totally get that. Later. Sorry for streaming so late your time, but that's what I could do. Hello from Algeria. Hello, Zach. Good to have you here. All the way from Algeria. So, Archimedes engine. We can look at the notes that are trusty Andy Law wrote up in the Everyday Astronaut Discord channel. Announcement. Upper stage is disposable. Neutron upper stage is hung from the payload, so it's in tension. Yep. 7 engines on the first stage. Yeah. I can't see anything about the second stage. But I mean, I would imagine that it's a vacuum version of the Archimedes, yeah. I mean, it doesn't look like it here, but I suppose that's just an artist impression. Maybe it does look a little bit like it. I don't know. We'll just take one of these. Because that's how vacuum version of engines work. Same, usually, same exact thrust chamber and combustion chamber, and then probably the exhaust, the turbopump exhaust or gas generator exhaust routes back into the nozzle. That can sometimes be the case for like cooling, if I understand engines correctly. I might not. Okay, I mean, Astrobin confirms need to call the second stage the quark, since Neutron is made of contained 3 quarks. I like that, also because it's inside of it. Yeah. Let's move this to a new collection called second stage engine. Alright, alright, alright. And yeah, don't worry about this right now. I feel like I say that a lot. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. Yeah. But don't worry about it. We'll do a little mount here. Like this. We'll just do what am I doing? Don't like this. Sometimes I need to just do a little bit of tinkering to sort of figure out what it is I'm trying to do or want to do. Yeah, I'm just gonna do something like this. And then have a cylinder that's like not 32 vertices. That's way too many. It looks way too skinny. It looks so skinny. What's going on down here? Skinny too. But it's like a little bit bigger. That's fine. Don't worry about that, Casper. Interesting, they went from Methalox too. Must be the cleaner burning fuel. Yeah, totally. That's what I'm thinking too. Like, methane burns so much cleaner. So, yeah, that's totally gonna be it. It just... It's also cheaper, but yeah, so there's a lot of advantages for when using Methalox for a reusable rocket. I have a question. Yes, totally. I'm a data analyst and want to find a link between 3D modeling and data analytics in the space industry. Totally. What's the question? Could you display your keys? I can probably. I don't exactly remember how. Viewport. Input. No info on the second stage at all. Yeah, that's what I thought too, since Andy also didn't write anything about it. Let's see. Blender show keystrokes. You need to have a plugin. I'm not gonna install a plugin right now. Maybe for the next stream. I hope you understand, Kalen. From the looks, you'd say pressure fed and not Archimedes as the engine is way smaller than, and 1 meganewton is a ton for an upper stage. You might be right, actually. So the upper stage for the Electron, that's still a Rutherford, right? But that makes sense because it's such a small engine, no? And then for the Photon, it's a small pressure fed one. Can you estimate an ER you see on your engine model? That ER ER. What are you referring to? Am I being dumb here? If they say anything about upper stage, I'm sure I'd have included. Yeah, totally. I trusted that, Andy. What does the Okay, so Astro Ben is saying, looks like the exhaust pipe will be piped back into the nozzle. Okay. Hello, Caleb. We are still modeling. I wanted to get into texturing, but I just needed to finish some stuff. I totally didn't model the second stage or the fairings last time, or on Sunday. So what I've done now is just model the fairings real quick, like that, and then working on the second stage right now. Just right now trying to figure out if the engine is the same as on the first stage but vacuum optimized, or if it's an entirely separate engine. Expansion ratio. Yeah. So that's from the throat to the surface. I can make a quick estimation. Let's say the throat is about 13 centimeters. And the nozzle exit is about a meter wider than that. A meter and 13 centimeters. So that's, I don't know, 10 times that. Yeah. Does that make sense for I don't know much about expansion ratios and such, so is 1 to 10 a normal expansion ratio? Yeah. So 1.13 to 0.13 would be the same as 1 to 0.1, I guess. And Andy is saying it's single vacuum Archimedes engine. Okay, great. Same engine. Confirms that the yeah, okay. Totally. 1,000 kilonewtons. Sweet. Okay, so it's the same engine. Thanks, guys. Thanks for doing research for me. Or looking it up for me, I should just say. Yeah, so we have a lot of space down here for a vacuum nozzle. We'll do everything. We'll delete everything from here and down, which is what I usually see on engines. On vacuum engines, that is. Rocket Lab. I'll just go to the website as well. RocketLabUSA.com. Launch Neutron. Single vacuum Archimedes engine, locksmith and duty cycle, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's all they say. Cool. No doubt. So Zach, what are you asking? I mean, in other words, what are the kind of projects that merge the three fields? Data analytics, 3D modeling, space industry. Okay. Good question. I wonder if you have to go into like not data analytics then, but data visualization, because you could definitely visualize some data with with 3D modeling, right? So that's my suggestion. No, this doesn't make sense. 1 to 13 to 0.13 would translate to an ER of 75 million. What is? Huh. So Merlin 1D is 15 expansion ratio, and this would be... No, because look at how thick the throat is. What is your calculation? Because this, I mean, this throat is so big compared to the nozzle, actually. So it's a lower expansion ratio, a higher number? What? I'm confused. I'm just gonna continue modeling. I'll have to say, I am a 3D modeler and not a numbers guy. Yes. And trust me on that. Cool. So I'm going to go down and out. Yep, down and out. Can confirm. Would expect that the space industry uses SolidWorks similar for their designs. Yeah, totally. At least for, like, you know, yeah, actual designs, like CAD models. Yeah. But if you want to combine that with data, I guess, yeah, I mean, you can, yeah, totally. Sorry, it just went over my head that, like, data can be, yeah, so you can do data modeling with 3D, yeah, simulations. Yeah, that doesn't look completely right. I think. That should fix it. It's not at all the same as in this model, which is like way wider. This looks closer to what they have on the Astros Rocket 3. Way wide. We can do that. We can go wide. Just have to edit this bit. Maybe not that wide. Yeah. Something like that. I don't know, it's a totally wide nozzle. Looks interesting. Maybe a little bit more straight. Yeah. Sure, why not? And then this, what do we do about this? Let's take a look at the Merlin, just for reference, because I think, or Raptor actually. No, that's full stage. Yeah, this is gas generator. Sorry, thinking out loud. So framework says that 113 centimeters by 13 centimeters is 8.7 surely. Surface, not diameter. No, I mean the numbers that I said out loud, the 13 and 113. That was the diameter of the throat and nozzle, not the surface area. Okay, rocket engines. Hello, Niels. Good to have you here. Merlin. Here's a 3D model of Merlin, I guess. It's not a great model, not to diss it, but it's also this. This is a great photo I found. So here we see surface, sea level optimized, vacuum optimized. Is this Raptor? This is Merlin, right? Why can't I tell? This is totally Merlin. Okay, totally Framric. Does work out to be 75-ish. Huh. So is that too high? I mean, I agree, it does have a very like wide throat compared to a sea level engine. $20. Okay. That seems closer to Merlin as well. Okay, so where does this go? The gas generator exhaust is routed into the nozzle. Yes. I should just take a look at my, instead of these, just take a look at my Merlin model as reference. That'll be easier since it's actually 3D. Blender, engines, Merlin, collection. Cool. So that's not the vacuum, of course. I wonder if I did the vacuum on my Falcon 9 model. Okay, something is definitely wrong here. No, wait. Oh, yes, that's correct. Anyways, so yeah, it goes in here, goes through here, into the nozzle, up and down, up through the nozzle. And the other part is just going directly into. Yeah, cool. No, that was definitely the Merlin sea level. Yeah. Oh, the one that I brought up on the image, maybe. That might have just been the. Maybe that was Raptor actually. I don't know. But it could just have been the without the extension. Hello, Matt. Thank you. If you're talking about me, you could have been talking about someone else in chat, of course. You guys are cool too. Yeah, the photo. Okay, yeah. So I'm thinking this thing. I'm so confused. I mean, there's really not much to go off of here. I could just model this, but it's really hard to see what's going on. So this here. The thing on top here is definitely the thrust vectoring arm, and there's one on the back too. But then you don't see any pipes going into the rocket, so I'm not sure. Like this is the turbo pump, and then this goes directly into the nozzle here. Then this goes also into the nozzle, which is weird. But this goes into the chamber. Yeah. I don't like the shape of this nozzle, but we'll roll. We will roll with it. Let's bring this down and out. I should totally just remodel this thing, but hey. Yeah, it would have been too small for the MVAC, yeah, I agree. And it would have been too big to be just the... If it was just the nozzle part without the extension still. Yeah. So I like this. Sort of. Don't really, but... Whatever. We could also look at the F1. I guess that has a big chunky thing here. I don't know. What do you guys suggest? Do you care that this is correct? I feel like I do, but maybe you guys just want to get to texturing. Melsen 1D vacuum engine. Big old snail. Yeah. So what that does, what the vacuum engine does, and what this will probably do, now that I'm thinking about it, is it will go directly into the thing here. So instead of this, that's what I'm That's what I'm gonna do. Just preliminarily. Can you even say that? Preliminarily? Yeah. So I wonder why this doesn't line up. It's this bit not being center. Sure, why not? Why wouldn't it? Why would it be? Oh no, I'm playing music that I shouldn't be playing. No, don't copyright strike me. Yeah, you noticed too, Andy. How long did it play for? I just noticed. I was lucky to go into Spotify to notice, but thank you. You always remind me, because I always forget to put it on looping. Yeah. Two minutes. Dang it. Yeah. Not too bad then, I guess. But damn it. Okay. I don't love how that looks, but I'm thinking they'll do. Okay, I know why I don't love it. This should all just be lined up with the... Cool. So that's good enough for me, for now at least. We'll that'll probably be actually some nozzle extension maybe. So there might be a sort of cut here, just below where that's attached. I could imagine that being the case. Yeah, it was. Maybe I listened to EDA music too much. It was very quiet. I have it turned way down, so maybe they won't even catch it. That I did definitely not break the law. Don't worry about it. Bridge the edges. This way out. These nozzles are thin. Stop. Okay, so when I'm done with this, we're gonna do some carbon composite texturing. Yeah. And I'm gonna do some lazy stuff for the logos, I think. But it'll look cool, at least. Okay, so what's going on there? Cool. Not sure about the shape of it. It seems very, very wide, but sort of how it looks there. But yeah, and it all fits in there. Cool. Now we should just have this sort of payload ring here. Yeah. So these are usually just a meter wide or something. Radius 0.5. Maybe 2 meters. Yeah. Break the law, yeah. Don't worry about it, it looks really nice. Okay, cool. Good to hear. So I'm sorry if I don't talk as much as I did Sunday. My brain is a little bit mush after school, so I'm trying. Just it's carbon composite, but I don't know. Just wanting to add some supports or something here. We usually see something similar on payload adapters. Neutron is way bigger than it looks. Definitely. Oh yeah. Let's can't wait to see it in Rocket Explorer. It's, yeah, see that small detail that adds a lot. Not sure it's realistic or anything, but it's a little bit pretty at least. So that's something. And then we're gonna add some seams here, which will make it a different color. Here, nope. Here, that'll be some sort of gold or something, and these will be too, I think. And this will be all carbon composite, which will be why these will be a little bit soft. Yeah. I am studying programming. Data, like, it's called data scientist, I think, in English, but it's not. That sounds way fancy, I think, than it actually is. It's like, it's not that complicated. What I'm studying, just by choice. But it is turning my brain into mush a little bit right now. Just the end of this semester. Next semester should be a lot better. Mush-wise. But also, hello, Wooper and Dorian. I have a family in the Netherlands, and I can't believe how much you sound like my cousin's husband. Your voice is so close, but if you and him were to have a conversation, it would be a sarcasm loop. What? No, I can't believe... I don't... What? That's fun. That can also sound so similar to someone from Netherlands. I guess our accents are a little bit similar. People also ask me a lot if I'm from the Netherlands, but I'm not. Scientist. Yes, exactly. It sounds very way smart. So why is this? Yeah, this is supposed to be like that. Easy peasy. I'll add a quick cube. Just very easily attaching this bit. Easily and lazily. And then what should I do? What am I doing? So that just makes a tiny bit of sense, at least. Doesn't really make sense, but don't think about it. Now it has something to rotate on, at least. I don't know. Just freestyling. Because now it seems more attached to the rocket now, at least. Yeah. Cool. A cat in a box. Welcome KMX21. Sick name. Very dope. Here's a dab emoji. I know it's like an elbow cough, but it's totally dabbing. There you go. Okay, cool. What do you guys say that we start doing some texturing? Right? Yeah. So let's just check. We don't have the general tube of the first stage unwrapped at all. You can see none of those red seams that I was talking about earlier. So what I like to do is on the back side, just make one giant seam down the middle, doing some on the tops and up there, and then at the bottom of this I like to split between stuff like this. That just keeps when you have little bumps like this that sort of tend to warp the unwrap a little bit. Also these loops here, but that'll be fine. Let me just see what the textures are actually. So I could be inclined to do an unwrap here, just above the Neutron logo. And one here, because that'll make this part straight as well, and will make the Neutron here look very good. But I also have a hack for that, I think. So we'll do one here. Oh, we'll do it here. And here and here. And there and there. And all of the rest in here can just be circles. There and there. Yeah. Cool. Add seams, and now we have a lot of red parts. Now if we go into UV editing and we select all of this and hit unwrap, that should be pretty good, except you can see there are some parts of it that's not good. And I assume that's all of these parts here, yeah. And that's because it still has all of its geometry. So what we basically just want to do is delete everything but the bottom part, which we see. Which is like that. Yeah, so now we delete all of this. Do we see that actually? No. So we could delete the end caps as well. And then we don't actually need to have any red lines on this, any seams. We can just unwrap it like they are here, because they are themselves sort of split like this. No seams are really necessary. So now, yeah, cool. That's all of these right here. I see I forgot the end cap of one of them. Wonder where that little bugger is hiding. There. Cool. So that's our unwrapped first stage. No, boo. Are you booing my dabbing emoji? Great stream, Casper. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Fremrick. I can confirm that I'm probably not saying that right, but thank you so much. Gotta cook dinner. Totally. Providing no copyright strike. Yeah, I'll keep the stream up, so if you need to go, you can always catch it back. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you, Brickster. I am, on one hand, I'm tired of modeling engines. On the other hand, I've gotten like into it a little bit. So yeah, it's a weird feeling because I feel like I understand engines a lot better, but then at the same time, so many pipes, tubes for days. Okay, should we unwrap the second stage then? I'll do the same thing, just circles. I will actually add some seams here to here to here. Also, the reason you do it is so that it doesn't warp. You could technically just unwrap this whole thing, payload adapter here as a circle, if that makes sense, but it would just warp the whole thing because the inner parts here would be sort of stretched out into the middle, if you can imagine, and these outer parts would be stretched out if you try to unfold this without like splitting it somewhere. Yeah, I don't know, it's a little bit hard to explain. But I think I will drag this whole thing down here so it seems like one big part of composite. Yeah, and just split it down here. Same thing goes for these tubes here. I should probably split them all on the inside here. I will also be deleting the end caps, I think. The thing, you could either delete the end cap or you can sort of mark a seam there, and that'll do the same thing. But just deleting it, since it's not visible, means that it's like one less face, I guess. Not sure that it actually decreases. It doesn't decrease the poly count, the same amount of polygons, but it does. I don't know. I don't know. I think it helps just a tiny bit. Cool. And obviously we have these as well. Bam, just adding some seams, quick seams. Let's see how that looks. We can just test this one thing by unwrapping that alone. Yeah, that looks pretty clean. We have some stuff that overlaps. That's not very good if you want to like calculate ambient occlusion or want to bake some stuff, because some texture will be overlapping. But I won't be doing that, so that's fine. And I will just delete this other thing and copy this over, since I just unwrapped it. And I can do the same thing for the circle. Unwrap the end and unwrap there. Cool. Now let's unwrap the whole second stage. Okay, so that's decent, but you can see there's still some stuff that I missed. I know what that is. It's these guys. So I will just delete the bottom of each of those. So this is a bit of a tedious process. It's not what I like the most about 3D modeling, but it's definitely a little bit satisfying when you unwrap and it's all clean. I mean, I wouldn't call this very clean. It's sort of like a stretched, but it's because I want this bit to be one big seamless part of carbon composite. So cool. Fairing time. Fairings are easy. If I haven't, I already unwrapped those, so they look like that. Yeah. If you recorded the stream, you could just cut out the copyrighted part and repost. Yeah. I mean, I can also actually YouTube allows you to now edit streams and such, so I wouldn't even like have to record it. I can just go back after the stream and mute that part actually. So that's pretty neat. But I've made the same mistakes on other streams, so I have a feeling it won't be necessary. Might be one day, but when they find out. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so this is all. Yeah. Cool. This way it'll be one carbon. Yeah, I'm not sure. The inner part might as well be a separate piece. Yeah. Cool. Cool. No doubt. And I think the last thing is the legs. So you can see they are pretty messed up right now. All we have to do is do some lines down the sides, top, maybe here, on the bottom, there, and there. Let's see how that looks. I don't know. This is, yeah. Kind of want to do this, and even, yeah. Not very pretty. We could probably, yeah. Yeah, cool. So now each side have sort of their own piece of carbon, which, yeah. It'll look cleaner that way at least. One big piece of carbon composite, cool. I mean, I feel like the big, large pieces of it will be that way. The fairing, I mean, it'll obviously be giant pieces of carbon, but that's what Rocket Lab specializes in. I mean, they'll have to do the body of it, so they could do the fairings as well. I see. Why not? Do it. I dare you, Rocket Lab. Okay, so by doing it on this leg, I automatically did it on this leg. You can see the red parts, but I haven't done it on the small ones. So that should be the quick, same operation. And now I know how I want it to look like. Like that. There. Seams. And cool. Dope. Okay, so now we have, okay, small thing. legs. And okay, now we have everything unwrapped. Okay, I'm lying again. I keep lying. It's a habit. What can I say? And the engines are probably not unwrapped either. No. Why would they be? I think we'll deal with the engines later. Now I just want to see how this looks in carbon composite. So let's slap some textures on there. It's time. It's time for the carbon composite. New material. What am I actually on right now? There you go. Okay, cool. We're done, guys. Stream over. Let's go home. No. I'll just do this. No, Flo, don't leave, actually. No. I'll just add this material to all the parts that I want to be this material. And then once we do it, it'll look sweet. Like instantly. Almost. I'll just also make a material here that we won't make yet, but we'll call it gold. Which will be the adapter interface. We should also make something that holds the second stage there sometime, but yeah, we can make something here that's the interstage, which can be, it's still carbon composite actually, but we will need a metal rough and a metal shiny. I always do those. Cool. It already looks dope in black, I will say. But we can do so much better. No, Flo. Already gone. True. Well, don't come back then. Sweet. So, let's do this. Carbon composite. Texture. I have, it's not a great texture, but I have this carbon texture, carbon fiber texture. Looks like this. Okay, now we're done. No. And I'll just add this scale it up a little bit, which helps. You can see how it's not seamless. Well, it is. It tries to be seamless. What's going on here? What if I had this the other way around? Okay, so I think this mosaic UV mapping is messing with it a little bit, because it should be seamless. Yeah, as you can see here. It should be pretty seamless. There are these small dots here that are more highlighted than the others, but I think that's sort of down to compression. But yeah, as I said, it's not a perfect texture. What we will need to do is now scale them to each other. You can see on the legs, it's sort of smaller than on the body. And on the fairing too. So what you can do for that is just take everything, select everything you want to be the same scale, and unwrap it together. Select it all in edit mode, and whoops, and unwrap it. And as long as they're all one scale here, over here to the right, they should all now be the same scale. Yeah, you can see now it matches up perfectly. And that's just beautiful instead of trying to match each UV unwrap individually and manually. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not your real dad. You're not my real son then. This is getting weird. Cool. So this is purely the texture. We still have just a normal roughness control here. And normal, I mean, obviously it won't be metal. So that should just stay at 0. Specular, of course, I usually just leave that there. And then obviously we don't want to be emissive. So let's get some roughness in there. Since I only have this basic carbon fiber texture, I will just be actually just basing my roughness off of the texture itself. So that's pretty easy. I'll just take a color ramp. Now this only works for in Blender, so if I want to take this model and put it into Unity or something, I will need a separate texture, or use the texture again or something, modify it a bit. But this node I'll take and plug it into the roughness. Now this will look weird. Very shiny. And carbon fiber isn't that shiny. Well, it has a sort of clear coat, right? So we could do something like this. Something like that, but then add a clear coat. And that just sort of makes it rough underneath, but then with like it's coated with this thing that's clear. And that, I mean, it sort of makes it look like the electron did. Just a little bit. So I think that looks pretty dope. We can bump up the clear coat roughness just a little bit. What are your thoughts about this? There's this weird artifact here. No, Flo, don't say that. I looked into the automated fiber placement they say they plan to use. It's already used for some large seamless pieces. If they can do that with the fuselage, that would be awesome, yeah. And I mean, it won't be the largest carbon composite tank ever. I mean, if you remember, before Starship was stainless steel, they tried to make, they made this huge carbon composite fuel tank for Starship. Just this test tank. It was 9 meters wide. This is 7 meters. It's obviously taller. But yeah, it's definitely possible. Okay, Flo. This needs to stop. End this right here. Okay, so I don't like this. This shading happens because it's completely sharp here with where the two models meet. So what should fix this is just adding a small bevel. Now, why is there boolean on that? That's probably because it's made from what the main body is made of, so we don't need those. But we do need a bevel. Just a 0.005 or something. Okay, so that didn't do much for that shading issue. But it will help just make it a little bit better. Let's do 0.01. I like the look of that actually, sort of twisting. Okay. So I mean, it's just at this certain angle, it doesn't look great. Yeah, I don't know. I've always had that problem with the fairings. Yeah, it's difficult to fix. Message retracted. twisted tip indeed. Just a little bit. Yeah, so that's a carbon composite Neutron. That's the quick way to do it, at least. So let's add some metals and some logos, some feet there. I think maybe they won't be carbon composite actually. Maybe that should just be sort of a black, a rough black. So that's just a solid color right now, but I'll be adding just a roughness texture to this, so it's a solid color, but just to add some detail, we can go stucco. Cool. So it's a little bit different, some small differences in roughness, and then we can use a different texture, same texture, but in the normal map, to add some small bumpiness, just very slightly. For some detail. You can also add some larger scale roughness, so that's the detail when you get close, and then you could add some larger scale, but not for now. So two sides of the fins on the first stage, lower ones are longer than the other two. Yeah, correct. So the ones on the sides are sort of strakes for when it goes in for landing, and you can use those for sort of gliding on it. And the other ones are only as tall as they need to be for like aerodynamics and holding the feet. And then what you can also hide inside of these large fins is actually the runway, probably. You can probably do it. Where electricals running up the side of the rocket, and also some plumbing and stuff from the first stage down to the end, from the top of the first stage down to the engines, from the top tank. And some electricals and stuff up to the interstage. You can see it actually goes up into the interstage here, where the second stage is. Yeah, so that's it. Will Rocket Lab also recover the first stage of Neutron like Falcon 9, or is it not decided yet? Yes, exactly. So it will be, to begin with at least, only return to launch site, and then maybe they will land on some autonomous barges later, but they will take the first stage and they will go down through the atmosphere, and they will extend these legs, and they landed. And that's the idea, at least. And then the second stage goes to orbit without an engine, because it's still in there. That's bad. So the engine here should be parented to this. Cool. Now this second stage has an engine. Cool. And what's cool is that the fairings are actually also mounted and will stay together with the first stage. So it actually will look something like this when it comes back in with the fairing. Someone asked Peter Beck if they'll open the fairing for like an air, as an air brake of sorts. So like when it gets further down into the atmosphere, they could sort of open it a little bit to add more drag. But that's like way complicated and probably not necessary. So, but he said they could do it. Yeah. The long ones are probably structural as well for the second stage. That could be, yeah. They could be sort of supports for the interstage and yeah, help carrying the second stage and the payload. Because there will be some sort of support going in here. So this is what they mean when they say the payload is being carried by the first stage and not the second stage, for the first portions of flight at least. Very rough sort of structural load bearer here, but you get the idea. We can rotate that about, just like yeah. And that probably will be some sort of metal, I assume. Cool. Very quick. Sort of. Yeah. So that's how, I mean, this won't be how it works because obviously these will need to be removed once the second stage wants to go through here. Okay, it just can't just pass through that, but maybe it'll be I mean, I don't know, it could be actuators, but then that's another moving part. I wonder if one of you commented that in the chat. Hello, the God Troynar. It's going pretty well. Just chilling, modeling after school. How's it going with you? Peter said they're looking into it and they could take the load fairing as air brakes. Right, okay, cool. So they could definitely, I mean, they're looking into it, yeah. If they open the fairing for aero drag, might require a lot more structural support and weight for the fairing. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. That's why I'm thinking it's not necessary. Maybe, I mean, it could save fuel a tiny bit. Right. So Andy, you're saying The second stage would hang down under tension from support that must be higher up. Yeah. So I would say this is like the second stage is hanging under this. The load is on the payload adapter, which means the payload and second stages are both being carried by the first stage in this case. I don't like the design of this, and also, I mean, yeah. If any of you have any ideas, Neutron upper stage is hung from the payload plane, so it's in tension. So doesn't that line up with what I've made here? If we ignore the fact that the payload, the second stage has to go through here. We could just ignore that for now. More color. Just some carbon composite on these bad boys. Make these guys black. Black. Right. And these are just the same all around. Yeah, cool. Maybe it should be metal actually. So this and this should be sort of yeah. I think the mounts are in the right place. You should maybe just go down to lower on the second stage. Maybe more like rope than struts. Yeah, that could definitely work. So if the... Yeah, cool. Good call. That also means that they don't have to sort of pass through them. If it's sort of supported around here. Yeah, so if it's supported around here, then everything can pass through. Yeah, cool. Pass through. That was a complicated way of making a cube that's rotated. Yeah, cool. So something more akin to this. And then if we just, yeah. So let's just do a rope type situation. Let's do 4 of them. So maybe let's actually just rotate them 45 degrees so they're not like attached where the, wait, I mean the, So these engines will go in here. We can do like 22.5. That's in between. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just in focus mode right now. I hope you are good with that. Might have forgotten I was streaming for a little while there. Don't mind me. Okay. Yeah, so I like this a little bit better. I mean, it seems like it could, it's not ropes exactly, but it's a little bit more like it's hanging from this, from the second stage, from the first stage, and then it can let go of this and then come up through here. Yeah. I like this. It's okay when it works silently. It's fun to see the concentrate and focus techniques. Cool. Definitely. Could you tell us a story from... Wait, could you tell us the story, your story, from when you started working with Tim? Yeah, agreed, Andy. I don't really know. It's like it happened sort of gradually because I... well, I guess it started because I modeled a ton of rockets for Rocket Explorer, and then I guess I sort of just said to Tim, because he supported me on Patreon, that he could sort of get access to those. I would give him access to those and he could use them for videos and such, and then I did some animations and he asked if he could use some of those for videos, and then sort of escalated a little bit from there to like, okay, can I actually hire you to do some specific stuff for some videos? Yeah. That's kind of it. It's like very natural sort of progression of events, if you want to call it that. Which is nice. Okay, so I like that a little bit better. Just because it became very stretched at the bottom. I know it doesn't make sense, a ton of sense, that it's just sort of straight there and then this thing, but yeah, I don't know, it just looks better. Okay, so here's one annoying thing that we have to do now. Let's do the engines, but because I copied them all individually, like they're not linked. So see, if I edit this one, the other ones don't edit. That means if I add a cool material to this one, it doesn't add to all of them. So I'll just have to delete those afterward, and replace them with whatever I do here. You got asked the same question on Twitter today. What was your answer then? Can't be the same story. So what I'm unwrapping it sort of with the similar techniques that I did on the rocket itself, splitting it down the back side of it. It's sweet because it also lines up with this, so you sort of don't see the seam as much. Yeah, split it here, I guess. There, maybe. So right now there's no real texture on the shiny material, so you can't really see if stuff overlaps and is weirdly distorted. But I'll just add that actually. So what we can do is just add a sort of roughness map here. Textures. Actually, I'll just import a polygon material. Metal. I like this one. I'll load it, and I can add it in here. Group. Rust replenished, yeah. It's too long a story for this chat here, yeah. The models of perseverance and curiosity were also used in one of Tim's video. True. He asked me if I could render those out, or if I had any renders of it. So to be clear, they're not my models, they're NASA provided models, but I did some renders of them that he could use. I can't remember if I did it for Jeff Barrett for his reference, for his launch infographic first. But the renders are the same. I just gave them to both of them. Gave them access to him, and then did some specific animations for Tim. Yeah. So this is kind of weird. Metal should, for the most part, the metallic thing here, be either 1 or 0, because there's no substance in real life that's sort of a mix between metallic and not metallic. It's called something. But yeah, so what I see here in this is that it's sort of slightly gray, which is kind of weird. But you can see in the fine detail, it's because there's some sort of there's some spots that are slightly less metallic, and that can make a tiny bit of sense when it's sort of what should we call it, damaged a little bit, or if it's sort of if it's paint and it's sort of chipping or something like that. But yeah, I just so what I'm doing is I'm mixing it with this mix node to make it more white, so it's more metallic, because you can see it looks a little bit weird like this, and this is fully metallic. Yeah. I'm also not too sure about the bumps and stuff here, because it's an engine, so it should be pretty fine. So I will actually turn down the roughness as well. Color ramp. Make these more equal. So the scratches and bumps don't stand out as much, but because it should be pretty smooth engine or material, metal, whatever you want to call it. The second stage engine is the second stage engine different from these at the base, or can you link that one to after you make these shading changes? So that is different. If I was really efficient, I would have done all of this shading on the first stage engine, and then I would have copied the second stage engine and modified that model, and that way it would sort of keep the same shading. But I have to do this for this now. And I mean, it's fine because it'll be a metal, and then this bit will be black, but not this black, a separate sort of nozzle black. I guess. I mean, that's just my guess. That'll be a nozzle extension. Yeah. So just some quick. Yeah. So as you can see, it doesn't take too long to do. It's mostly the unwrapping and tweaking the materials that's the worst offender in that department. And I mean, if you know engines, you can see that this engine doesn't make sense as well. Like the model isn't finished by any stretch of the imagination. Fuel doesn't flow into the engine right now. It sort of goes into here, passes into the turbo pump, and then just goes out here. So, yeah. If it some fuel has to pass into here, and or the oxidizer probably, oxygen, and then the fuel has to pass into the snail here, as I call it. It's called something, I can't remember, and then flow down through these, and then into the nozzle, up through the nozzle, and then into be mixed with the oxygen. Cool. Yeah, and then on the Rutherford engine, these are sort of colored. I don't know if they are an actual. I think they are this sort of metal blue. So let's do the same thing here. Metal blue. It's kind of funky, actually. It looks pretty dope. Basically like this, yeah. And these are, I don't know. Let's just make them metal. Same with this. Cool. Yeah, so that's a very quick. It's not even texturing, it's colorization, I would almost call it, because it's just solid textures, solid materials. We could, just like we did with the shiny material, we can copy this to the rough material. And we can do the roughness, but just make it rougher. Essentially. Like this. So now this unwrapped? No. So now it should also have all those little details and bumps. It's very... Yeah. Yeah, cool. So that's a very quick texturing. Are those entirely regeneratively cooled? I would guess so, yeah. So some fuel flows into here, down through these pipes, up through the nozzle, cooling the nozzle, up into the, and heating up the fuel into the engine. Could you please send us the HDRI you're using in Discord? This one? I'm not using an HDRI per se. If it's this one in here, it's again just built into Blender, so you can probably find it in the files. This forest type thing, as you can see. But I don't know what it's called or where you find it. So. And this blue sky here is just a world node, sky texture. So again, not an HDRI. So. Okay. Boot. So we talked about the boot yesterday. And apparently a boot is... I knew it was called a boot, but apparently that's what you call anything that's sort of softly attached to a moving mechanism or something. I think that's how Tom described it. I think it was Tom. And I'll just take the standard texture that I tend to use. Textures, rockets. I tend to use this. Huh. I tend to use this stitched black leather texture that it's called, and then I've made my own bump map for it. It was just a texture that I found online. Height, normal, and then it looks like this. And yeah, that's been working pretty great for me. Looks like a boot that you see on engines. This is like, specifically it looks like the one on Falcon 9. I did also make a white one. I think I used that for the Delta 4 and Delta 4 Heavy, for example. That has a very similar textured white boot for the engines. And I think white can look pretty dope. I mean, it looks pretty cool here on the black, against the black. But I think I'll go with a black boot. Until we see, of course, what Rocket Lab does in real life. Totally Flo. Bye. Hope you had a good time watching me model a little bit. 'Twas fun. Okay. So one thing I'm gonna add to the engine here, also while I have it, is just a small attachment to the boot. So usually you'll see a small thing like this. Where it actually attaches the boot. Yeah. Just a small detail, but that it adds a lot, and it helps show that it's sort of connected there. Could even move it out a little bit further. Yeah. Very neat. And actually, if it should be correct, I should probably move it out even further to the where the pipes are here. Sort of like that. Of course, that messes with my boot right now because I have this system set up where they there's this shrink wrap modifier where it tries to follow the engine, as you can see here. That's a little thing that I made yesterday, but I don't think I will do that because I didn't make the boot big enough. So now it can't really move much more than 2 degrees. I mean, it couldn't anyways because of the pipes. So I'll have to change it anyways, but yeah. I think we'll just do this for now. It looks fine. So Rahul, and hello, Rahul. I saw you also asked that earlier question. If those engines are regeneratively cooled, then shouldn't the pipe be carrying the liquid oxygen around the bell nozzle like spiral shaped, the RS-25, as the heat is distributed through the nozzle? So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and also the lines on the RS-25, is that a spiral? I don't think I've ever seen an engine with like a spiral pipe down the side. The way I understand it is usually just like a lot of donut-shaped rings, and that's how they distribute it. But what it actually does is it rolls. It runs into these tiny pipes, or at least one way of doing it is putting it into these tiny pipes that run up the down the side of it and makes a U-turn here and goes all the way up inside, or the other way around the side of the nozzle here. The other way you can do it is just sort of make the inner part make the inner part one separate part. I don't know how to explain this. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over. Make this one part and then make the outer part another. And then there's this hollow bell thing where you can run the fuel in. And then, yeah, and make it two-sided, and then it flows all the way down to the bottom, and then it turns all the way around. And that's a really old design. I mean, that's how they did it with the A4 engine from the V2 rocket, all the way back to then. So you don't, and that had some donut shapes all around it. It wasn't a spiral shape. Yeah. But I'm not a genius on rocket engines, so I could be wrong about calling it regeneratively, can't say that, cooled. But you'll see the Merlin engine. It's a completely clean nozzle, and I think that does the same thing. Think, emphasis on think. Yeah. So now let's just delete our engines. So Let's see. I will actually link copy it this time. The only bad part, wow, I can't speak. The only bad part about doing that is that you can't animate them, really. So if you animate one of them, then they all, maybe I'm wrong? Okay, I thought that they would all want to go to that location. Maybe not. Cool, but now they're all metal. Very neat. Okay, so it would be, so Merlin is not, okay. Oh, right, yeah, you don't see any pipes run down the side of Merlin, totally. Okay, so here's one thing that I noticed yesterday that I only fixed on one of the engines. These extra faces that I didn't delete. Okay, it's only there, great. Cool. Another little detail that I like to do is make the inside of the nozzle have this sort of distorted texture like it has been fired before. Especially makes sense for a reusable rocket like this. So let's do a engine inside texture. Let's actually base it off the metal shiny. So we'll just say metal shiny, new one. Engine inside. I don't technically need to protect them like this, but that's just so if the metals don't have any uses, if nothing uses the material, it doesn't get deleted once I restart Blender. Yeah. Okay, so this will be a procedural material, so it won't have any use in, say, Unity either. But I do this for a lot of the things, so don't worry about it. This will be a gradient texture that looks like this. Oh, I need to assign this. That's a gradient texture. I want it to be rotated on the Y, like this. Pass through a color ramp. Bam. Black on the other side as well. This will sort of be my mask. Yeah. Then I want a noise texture. Also through a color ramp. Just to control it. That looks like this. I will probably want to, yep, scale that on only the Z axis maybe. Right. So maybe I do want to rotate this also. Why are you treating me like this? This is weird. Is it because it's generated and not UV? Probably. And this. I'll just straighten this out. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So this is the pattern I'm sort of looking for. And then if we combine that with our mask, mix, multiply by this, it'll sort of only happen here. Now you can probably see what I'm going for. Yeah. So this will be a sort of distorted texture. As if the engine has been burning before. Yeah. And there'll just be some roughness. I can mix this with the roughness that I have here. Probably add, since it becomes more rough. Yeah. As long as this is brighter. Okay, so it's not very visible, but if I make this darker, it won't add that. And I make this other part brighter. Yep. And cool. What we can also do is make some color out of this. So we can take this. Let's just do a single color. Right. And now it's sort of a little bit darker where it is not rough, and then brighter where it's rough. It's not a very pretty texture, but it's just, I don't know, maybe I should put it, it's a little bit extreme, actually. So maybe I'll keep that actually. Just bring the add down. And yeah. Just a multiply here. This is the sort of thing that I like to play around with a lot. I really love just playing around with nodes and just creating these textures. Yeah. I guess that works. Yeah. So that sort of gives the a feeling of it's been used before. That engine has burned a little bit before. Cool. And I think that's almost it. I think we're just all right. Yeah. So the second stage is not done. This was blue. This was shiny. Nope, it was rough. And this was shiny with yep. So this is why I should have copied the second stage engine here after doing the first stage engine, but we move, it's fine. Cool. This should probably not be carbon fiber. We'll just do that. Neither should this. Okay, neat. So definitely still some issues like this clipping through, but since I'm streaming, I'm just gonna ignore it for now. And I think I'll do the same thing here for this. No, I don't know. I guess I could do it in thinking they will be testing the engine. The question is if they'll be testing the nozzle before firing. Then it would have this sort of same streaks inside of it. Definitely can look cool, but yeah. Either way, we should definitely scale it. So it's not these tiny bumps. Okay, so this is the place that I maybe want this small detail, but I also want a sort of a larger detail texture. So I made this nozzle black. I have this texture, a normal map. I can mix it with some others. What do we have? We have some... Yeah, I like this one. So I have this one, and then if I make it not 35 times, so that's some larger detail, as you can see. Definitely don't want to go overboard on this, so we can mix it with the black I've chosen to begin with. See how that looks. Yeah, just very slight detail. And then do that for the bump and roughness as well. Oh right, this is the roughness. That's why I had the invert, because it rough is bright. I'll combine this with this. I don't know, it's a very slight effect. Normal map. And then you just combine these two. Yeah, cool. So as you can see in the light here, it just adds this larger amount of detail and this smaller bumpy detail. Not great, not terrible. First stage would have been possibly flown before, but not second stage. Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm not making the engine here. I mean, the question was more if the engine was tested before mounted on the second stage, and that they could definitely test this upper part without attaching the nozzle extension. So maybe that could be some sort of the same texture here, without it being on the black part. Yeah. A new Casper rocket is being born, always a beautiful sight. Yay! Okay, so Rahul just said the exact same thing that I did, just for the first stage. Yeah, so they could definitely, for the first stage engine, it's both cases. They could both test the engines before mounting them, and they could also have flown before being flown multiple times. Yeah, because it's reusable. So now I just want to maybe just add this texture that I just did for the first stage engines. Just add it here. Yeah. Again, just a very slight effect, and you probably won't see it or notice it, but it's very cool if you just look up in the rocket and you see that sort of pattern. And you see, okay, that's been fired before. Cool. Again, you could keep going. You could add some larger scale roughness to this. You could. I don't really do it. I'm not a big texturer, so I don't do it. But if you're a pro, you could take it into substance paint or something like that, and paint details, like paint in the corners here where these meet, like it's been used a little bit. Paint some stuff, some lines out of these as if they've been fired. The thrusters here. You will notice that these also like relatively low poly, but it's because I plan to use it in Rocket Explorer, my little game thing. So that's why the whole thing is also sort of low poly, as you can see. For the model in Rocket Explorer, I will remove all this engine stuff inside, because that's just not necessary. But yeah. Well, what do you think, guys? Totally fine, Ben. You just caught me sort of finishing up. Obviously the insides of the fairings could be a sort of white, just simulating the padding. Not padding. Why? How did I spend so long time looking for that word and then not? The acoustic paneling. Yeah. Acoustic. This is a very quick and dirty way to do it. But yeah, that looks fine. Make it rougher. I kind of I like the look of that. So it's sort of all black when it's closed up, and then it opens up, and it's white. So where did the acoustic panels on the inside of the fairing go? So I didn't finish those. I sort of I put them here. I just didn't feel like making them. So yeah, I just wanted to continue texturing and stuff. So I might do those later. Maybe just when we find out what they actually look like, and just do this for now. What you can also do, I mean, I could take this. I could make it, instead of white being acoustic paneling, and you could do it with textures. So what I can do is I could take my boot texture, copy these nodes because I would use the same thing. Just the white one. And yeah, now it has some sort of little bit of shadow. As if it's acoustic paneling. Quick and dirty. Now put the dragon capsule as the payload. Yeah. Okay, so now I definitely did too many things. So I can't just hit Control C set. So I'll have to move this back. It wasn't too accurate anyways. That's fine. And the same for the fairings. Cool. I mean, that's kind of it. So I don't like the shading that happens here. Something is definitely up with the model, but I'll look into that. There might be a small line here for the oxygen versus methane tank where they meet. But yeah, so details. I think that's pretty neat. We could bring in an HDRI. Just remove our references. Have a world. Instead of sky texture, we have an environment texture. Oh, we totally didn't add any logos. Oh man, I was sort of winding down in my brain. We can do a very quick and dirty way. Instead of checking it into Photoshop or anything, I have an idea for that. That looks kind of cool. So logos. Quick and dirty way is that you just add a plane with the logo and just wrap it around the model instead of sort of adding it to the texture. So have a logo here, just add images as planes. I have the Rocket Lab logo somewhere. And you just do this, and you add some loops. Start with a few, so you can sort of just slightly manually bring it down, bring it in. And then you can shrink wrap to the rocket. And just offset it a tiny bit. Also subdivide it. And there you go. That's the quick and dirty way. I've seen a lot of models actually do this, a lot of rocket models that I've downloaded. It's a little bit bigger. Yeah. Then there's Neutron. I haven't actually gotten that. Maybe, oh, maybe I did it for the old model, yeah. Rockets. Neutron. I have this, but it's not transparent, but that should be an easy fix. We can just plug in the, instead of the transparency, the alpha as the transparent, you can just use the color as the alpha. And do, and flip it. Yeah, easy. So mine is a little bit fatter than theirs. There you go. Bam. Cool. And the Neutron logo. So not the icon, but now we have some logos as well. Cool. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you so much. So yeah, the bad thing about these is that it sort of adds this outline, and it doesn't look too great at a distance. So it's better to actually add it to the texture. This is high quality if you don't bake the texture as such. Like if the whole texture was, say, 4K even, this little bit would be less quality than it is by itself now, I think. Maybe. Yeah, depends on how quick you make the entire texture, of course. Now we could just find some clouds. If we rotate around the center, that looks a bit better. Maybe even find the sun. Oh, this looks dope. What we should actually do is rotate the ACRI. Then I don't have to rotate the rocket. That's the scale. Yeah, there we go. That looks cool. We can go 4K. And there you have a raw render of Neutron. Cool. Cool. Is the Neutron text on the... Wait, it's actually white, isn't it? Yeah, I could really quickly do that. I can't stop, guys. I can't stop. Yeah, easy peasy. Color ramp, probably just, maybe even just invert. So the outline's black. I can just use this. Yeah, that looks great. And this should be black and white. And mainly white. I know it's actually colored on this, but I don't think the color stands out enough. So I'll just make it black and white. Now that looks cool. Maybe an orbital shot? Maybe, yeah. This looks cool. I'll just save this. Should we do some editing in Photoshop? Or should I just surprise you guys on Twitter? Actually, I kind of want to. I need dinner. I need to eat dinner. So I think I'll just do some raw renders here, and you can see me setting those up. Yeah. And then I'll post some renders to some edited renders to Twitter later. So follow me there at Casper_Stanley. Yeah. Where am I trying to save this? Rockets, my renders, neat renders, Neutron, new render 1. It's Neutron because it's the new one. Haha, I'm funny. Let's do an orbital shot. Should we just do the... We can do it high altitude with the entire rocket. And then we can do one with the second stage. Let's find a... high altitude, that can be the... We have some cool HDRIs by... let's see. I should have some. By Sam K, yeah. Definitely follow him on Twitter. Let me just find his handle. Sam K. Can't find him. Why? Sam. Maybe he's not on Twitter. Maybe I just can't find him. That's my bad. Anyways, Sam K. For orbital, you will need a payload to mount in there. Yeah. Okay, guys, get ready to see this orbital HGRI. Ah, it's so cool. So cool. So we can pretend this is high. I don't know. We'll just do an orbital. Yeah. So I know why this looks sort of desaturated. It's because of the what's it called? Clear coat, I think. So if I didn't have the clear coat, it would be more. No, maybe it's not that. Is it the carbon fiber just not very black? Yeah. Maybe the carbon fiber should just be darker. That's without and that's with. Yeah, I think it just looks better if it's just a little bit more black. Yeah. Okay. We should take the first stage and move all of that into its own first stage. Okay, I'll do this afterward, but we can do this, and then Glenn has a very good point that we need a payload. I do have some satellite model somewhere. We can do a small Hubble or something. No, what do we have? Blender, NASA, space. Maybe it's in my library. Space. Resources. No. Vehicles. Space. NASA spacecraft. We can do Voyager. No, that's where New Horizons. I know it doesn't make sense. It should really be like a CubeSat or something. But hey. Why not? Does that even look good in rendered view? That looks fine. Does it fit in the fairing? Nope. Put a mini Electron USS Enterprise as the payload. Nice. Scale up photon bus would be a good payload. It definitely would. I don't have a photon model. A large plush teddy bear. It could also just be me. I don't have a 3D model of me, but I have like an image, full body image of me. We can take this and we can just scale it down a little bit. Instead of scaling it to the payload adapter. So it actually fits. Yeah. And then we just take all of this. And it to this. And then we can parent this to the second stage and then we can move it about. Yeah. Now we can move our camera. So it looks pretty dope. Maybe we want it. Do we want it to look into the sun? We want to sort of look down on the Earth, right? Okay. So here's a trick I have for when you sort of want it to be zoomed in this much, to give the feeling that it's in space. For the payload itself here, or the second stage, but then it causes the HDRI to be like this pixelated. You can sort of move the HDRI a little bit, so it looks like this. It does stretch it a little bit, but it shouldn't stretch it outside of the inside of the camera where it looks. Just carefully move it this way, and we should probably go down a little bit so we look more towards the horizon. You can always move it a little bit down as well, slightly. Then what we want to do is we make this color management high contrast. We take our sun, match it with the HDRI, which is like that. Yeah, what else do we do? We make sure this is like doesn't have any rendering issues. We can add a little light in here, so when we edit it, it has some light. But not too much. So you guys are saying the RTG. We can cut it down to 1. It doesn't need to be the actual New Horizons. Or actually look good in any way. Yeah, that looks decent. We can put a slight angle to that. I like it. Ja, jeg har hørt det, August. Det er trist, mand. I don't give a fuck. Not gonna lie, it looks pretty dang good. Yay! I'm making and texturing my own model at the moment, so this is very useful. Awesome. That's great. Lens flare. Yeah, I would add that in post, probably. Now the sun is directly behind, isn't it? Yeah, wait. Oh, the sun is up there. I could probably add a lens flare like at the top of the screen, or add my own sun. It doesn't have to be up there. I could add a lens flare like right here and make it look like the sun. Yeah, cool. And then post-processing is great for spatial like this. Just yeah, cool. So this is the raw render. I don't like that it's completely centered. I would do something like this. Then compositing, I would just add a filter. Glare is always good. I do like to add a tiny bit of distortion. I see people always sort of overuse this. Just do a tiny bit of distortion. So you almost can't see that, but it just adds a tiny bit of distortion at the edges, like a real camera took the photo. What people something like this sometimes. Once it's done compositing here, you'll see what I mean. Yeah. So that's very, very distorted. Maybe that's a bit overkill to make, but it makes my example clear, I think. You see how it's sort of adding this distortion at the edges. So I like to do that, but just bring it way down, so you don't even notice it as an effect. It just adds this tiny bit of thing. Yeah. And then obviously I'm gonna fix this. So we'll have fart glow. You can set this to 1 and you can see everywhere it puts the fart glow. Yeah, so maybe we want it to bump the threshold a bit. I like that. We'll do minus 0.75 or something. So bringing it in minus just makes it even less an effect. 1 is completely mixed between having it and not having it. -1 is not having it at all. And just minus 0.85, yeah. Rockets go. J.J. Abrams. I don't know if I've seen Ad Astra. I don't think I have. There's a lot of space movie I haven't seen. I haven't seen Gravity. I haven't seen I mean, there's Moonfall coming out soon. That looks ridiculous. The Rainbow Flange base, if you know what I mean. Yeah. We could have... Okay. So I'll add the flange post and you'll see that on Twitter. And in my Discord if you are in there. But here's the thing. Color. Color correction. Nope. I always choose the wrong one. Color balance. And just make the dark, raise the dark parts just 1 bit. Make it not completely black. Make it this grayish color, but only just a tiny bit. And then make those parts sort of a tiny bit orange, and make the bright bits the wait, no, the other way around. Make those tiny bits tiny bit blue, and the bright bits a tiny bit orange. Maybe also the midtones just a little bit. Yeah. Cool. And yeah, that's it for like a quick edit. You can see it here without these things, and then with the edits coming there. Subtle things, they add up and it looks dope. And then I could probably add some stars in post also. Just find some stars from NASA, add those in at the top since they're not in the HDRI. And yeah, I would just take the viewer node, save this image, and then yeah, save that. Neat renders, Neutron new, render 2. Cool. Kinda Interstellar, but love. Okay. Yeah. Interstellar is good, but there's a few things about it that's kind of weird. The ending. But then again, the ending was wasn't written by... It wasn't the original ending, I think. Yeah. Cool. So usually I don't do the renders in the same scene that I do my actual model, so now I have to sort of reset everything. So don't mind me. I'll just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Reset everything. Have my first stage. Take my second stage. Move it back up to there. Cool. So that's what I want. That's my rocket. So this is the Rocket August. It's a new rocket by Rocket Lab, and it's reusable almost fully. Like the first stage has the fairings attached like this, and they open like this, which is dope as hell. It's like James Bond, you only live twice. And yeah, this whole thing has some legs down here built into these strakes, kind of, and it's supposed to land like this with the fairing closed. And that's pretty cool. And then this tiny second stage will carry the satellite to orbit. So the original ending of Interstellar, it's like instead of this, what is it? I can't even remember the ending. I just heard it, read it in some article. So the ending in the Interstellar now is like this lovey thing, or like, yeah, where he gets back through the bookshelf and sees his daughter or something, and then, but in the original one, I think he just died or something. I don't know. It should have been better, at least. That's what the article argued. Neat. Cool. I think I'll just reset this to be a sky texture, because that Earth HDRI takes up a lot of space. No star of high exposure. That's very true, Ben. But then for renders and stuff like that, artistic license, it just looks cool. I know it's not like accurate, and maybe it proposes the idea that you should be able to see them, and that's why flat earthers are being stupid and think you should be able to see stars. But it looks cooler. I mean, yeah, what can I say? Yeah, would have been fun. Just fucking dies. Yeah. I don't remember. You should look it up. So is it like the Nolan brothers or something who wrote it? I'm so bad at movies. I'm so sorry, August. Yeah. I think I'll leave the rocket there. I think I'll leave the live stream there. I hope you guys are happy with that. I think I am. I think it looks pretty cool. We did some cool texturing, some cheats with these guys, and we're pretty lazy all around, but I like it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining on this live stream. I hope you enjoyed my lazy texturing, and I will see you sometime in the future when I decide to either do an animation or stream again. Yeah, follow me on Twitter, Casper_Stanley. a lot of links down in the description to my website and maybe to the Discord. I don't know. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Bye.